Signature TV. Yes, I will always like to remind and tell us that don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles. And you might wonder, why is it important? Because we always come with the latest and we'll give you fresh from the pot, the bottom pot, you know, how they put it. And we always have exclusives, so it's not like we copyright, you know, we copy from people rather. So follow us on all our social media handles at Signature TV on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And on YouTube, subscribe and leave it there because we are live 24 hours at Signature TV on YouTube. We're shifting the paradigm a bit, but not really because we're still on the same topic. But now, not really, okay, that was newspaper review. It all feels like the same. However, we're talking about the hunger protest. You know, counting the gains and losses. What have we gained from what we did from 1st of August? Today is the 6th of August. And for those still protesting, what's the plan ahead? You know, what are they losing by protesting? And those not protesting, what are they losing for not protesting? And for those, what are they also gaining? So vice versa. And we have Dr. Chukwuebuka Gabriel Eze to discuss this with us. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, they say all red cap people are chiefs, you know, but when you now add carrier, I want to ask, are you a native doctor?
No, not really.
Okay.
I'm a titled man.
Okay.
I'm Edogeze Ibagwaka. That's my title name.
Okay.
And I also have a chieftaincy title of DKD Bube, one of Ibagwaka.
Oh.
So invariably, I'm a double chief.
As in, and a doctor as well.
Yes.
I mean, you're Dr. Chukwuebuka Gabriel Eze.
Yes.
And you know the other ones that you know we need to fill a form for. Okay, now on the hunger and hardship protest.
Yeah.
Counting the gains and losses. What have we gained so far? And what are the losses we've incurred by this singular act of protest?
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. The hunger protests and the hardship protests actually didn't just come out of the moon or just people wake up and go to the street and hit the street to protest. Something led to the protests. And the hunger in hand, the starvation, the hardship, these things are the precursor to the protest. And talking about the gains, the people, the Nigerian people, I don't think that the populace are actually even looking at the gains or the losses. They just want to get what they want to get because they feel they've been pushed to the wall over too long and they want to take back their country and they want things to be done right, because the basic needs of man are food, shelter. Those are the basic things: food, shelter, and water, something like that. And when you don't have those basic needs of man, you know, a hungry man is an angry man. So I believe that even the take-home pay couldn't take Nigerians home anymore. That was what necessitated the protest. And counting of the gains, I think we've achieved something. Nigerians have achieved something in this protest to a reasonable extent because the government, that's the president of Nigeria, addressed the nation a few days ago. And in addressing the nation, he was trying to buttress some points, to say the things that are in the pipeline to be done and the things that are already been done by his government to make sure that Nigerians feel the impact of governance. But Nigerians are saying that, well, we know you've done some things, but we are not feeling the impact because no matter the policies, the policy reforms or whatever you are doing, and the common man doesn't feel the impact, he doesn't feel that you've done enough. Because whatever reforms the government is putting in place, without affecting the simple commodities that the common man purchases in the market, without affecting the security, without affecting the basic needs of man, to make the common man get it at a very cheap rate, a common man doesn't feel that he has been impacted by the government.
Let's take it some step backward. But
All right.
you know, you did mention that the president came out a few days ago to address the nation.
Yes.
Did that address the nation?
I would say he didn't entirely address the nation.
Okay, how
because the protesters and Nigerians at large, they felt that the president didn't address the issues at hand because they had their demands, such as reversing the petroleum pump price to the former price, giving Nigerians a living wage and not a minimum wage of at least 300,000 naira, then curbing corruption, reforming the EFCC to curb corruption, releasing the NSAS protesters that are still in detention, and even cutting cost of governance, and making the legislature unicameral, like only having one federal legislature, not having Senate and House of Reps, that all these are wastages. He didn't address those points. He only said that you should come to the table, let us dialogue. But the protesters, they felt slighted. But on the other hand, the president was addressing the nation, telling the nation that when he came on board about 13 months ago, that we are using about 97% of our IGR, of our income, revenue, to service debt. But now, his government has made it to come down to 68%. The figures are good. He said that they are revamping the infrastructure. They are putting things in place, roads, healthcare, schools. They are good. But it's only a man that is alive that will go to school. It's only a man that is alive that will make use of those roads.
But again, do you think that demands are quite outlandish, especially as it concerns the one for making the legislature unicameral instead of bicameral? Because if you are to take that move, you have to go through the Constitution. You have to amend the Constitution. It's not a one fell swoop thing. The president cannot come and announce and then it happens, because you're going to fall against the Constitution. So don't you think that that particular one is outlandish? And then when you say the government is bogus, that you need to cut cost of governance, have you noticed that the number of people whom the state governors even employ are 10 times what the president even employ as 40-something ministers? You have tons of people who are named as SAs, BAs, SSS or SSAs under some of these governors across board. Why do you think these protests are not directed to state governors who are also doing worse than what even the president is even doing? Do you think this protest is misplaced? It's not even coordinated.
All right, thank you so much. There are so many points that the protesters listed. Let's leave out the one of the legislature out of it first. If he had addressed some other issues, like the fuel pump price, the minimum wage, other ones, I think people can now say, yeah, the president addressed some of the issues we brought to bear, and we can be patient with time. The Constitution can change. But not only bogus National Assembly, that's not only the problem. We also have problem in the states, and the protest is not directed towards the president of the nation. It's against bad governance. It cuts across 36 states, the governors, the local government chairmen, everywhere in Nigeria. Nigerians are protesting of hunger and starvation, bad governance. The president responded because he's the chief, commander-in-chief.
That's what I'm saying. That
yes.
It looks like it's just him.
No.
Because everybody is looking at the seat of power. The one that is happening under your cocoon, you are not even addressing. You are not even speaking about it. None of them. I've watched all of those videos where the protesters keep saying things. None of them have ever mentioned a state governor as something that they have done that is wrong, that they should cut down on the cost of their own governance. Why is that? Everybody is pointing at the president. Why not talk about you, governor, where you stay, where you live, where most of your taxes are even paid?
You know, in Nigeria, we practice federalism. So, and Nigerians have always believed that leadership is the problem. If the president gets it right, the governors will be forced to get it right.
You can't say that.
but it's natural.
The states have their own legitimacy. They voted the governor. So you cannot say if the president gets it right, the state will get it right. So sometimes the state governor can get it right, the federal government will not get it right. Sometimes the presidency will not get it right, the governor will get it right. They are independent of the influence of the federal government.
All right. Let me tell you why most people are focused on the presidency. If you want to tackle the insecurity issues we have in Nigeria, the president is the commander-in-chief. If he wants to tackle it head-on, if he wants us to get it right, to get it right. That is just it. That's one. Secondly, food security. Insecurity has led to lesser food supply. Another problem is electricity, power. I don't think they are within the powers of the governors, but the presidency has a whole lot to do about that. So those basic things, the fuel pump price, if the president can rejig it and make it come down to like 200 naira per liter, I think, and the minimum wage also. What now? The president said, okay, we are signing 300,000. We are not talking of minimum wage anymore. We are talking of living wage. We are signing 300,000 naira and put the things that need to be put in place so that inflation will not eat up the money. The state governors must be forced, unquote. They don't have any option. Then if any state governor doesn't implement his own or his own, then it will now, the people will now say, we can now see that the president is no longer a problem.
But as it stands now,
yes,
some states are even protesting the 70,000 naira no wage. I don't want to call it minimum wage.
Yeah, why I don't believe that. I won't call it that they are already protesting, because I believe that the promise the president made of the 70,000 naira that has been signed, it has not taken effect. It has not been affected in the salaries. If maybe it has been affected in the salaries, then people now say, oh, the federal government have started theirs now. Why are the state governments not doing theirs? We know that the president alone can never solve the problems of Nigeria. Now, I don't blame Nigerians at all.
You know, when you talk about security, you make it look like it's the president that is responsible for insecurity in Port Harcourt, in Lagos, in Zamfara, Kauro, and Naboda. For crying out loud, there are chief executive officers who are, chief security officers of that state. He is the president of the country. He cannot be everywhere. That's the reason that also we have state governments and local governments.
But
so if something happens in Ondo State, is it the president that you call?
No, you don't call the president.
It's good. So
but the powers of the governors to some extent are limited.
How so?
The powers of in as much as they are the chief security officers of their states, the powers of the governors to now the Nigerian military forces, the armed forces, they are the command of the presidency. A state governor cannot just give orders and say move and do this and it will be effected. You must have to, yes, you must have to take permission. A state governor cannot just wake up and call the chief of army staff and say, look at what is happening in my state, do this, because he's not the commander-in-chief. The president is the commander-in-chief. So he gives orders. The state governor will just say, these are the security situations we are having. How are we to tackle it? Come to our aid, or let's partner to tackle it. But when the president gives order, he gives orders, move in, do it this way for us to achieve a lasting peace.
We tend to exonerate the governors when it comes to issues about security. These same governors use this state apparatus, the police, the army, and even sometimes Navy, or even some of this security outfit that they created, Amoteku, Ebubago, and the likes. They use it to intimidate their opponents. They use it every now and then to champion their own personal causes. But when it comes to securing the lives of people within the same environment, you start saying that they don't have the powers to.
No, I didn't say they don't have the powers. They have powers, but I made use of the word limited. Their powers are limited. Even when you come to the local government chairman has some powers, but is still limited. But I'm not exonerating the governors from the problem of Nigeria. They are part of the problem of leadership.
Everybody is focused at the president.
No.
As it stands,
No.
everybody's focused. Nobody's talking about the governors. The president has kept on saying, face your governors, meet your governors. I've sent X, Y, and Z amount of money. They have all of the governors has received nothing less than 100% more since this subsidy removal happened, because there has been more monies to the government. So the increase in those allocations have been sent to the governors. What are those governors doing with the monies? And everybody is looking at the presidency.
The point of presidency holding these people accountable, did you understand? Calling out the governors. I gave you, for instance, I gave you money to give Charles, and Charles didn't get it, and he's coming to me. It lies in me to call you, right? Does it lie in me, rather? I'm not putting it. Does it lie in me to call you to order as to why you haven't given Charles the money?
When you look at the protest that is going on, the state governors, they are not exonerated. People are also holding them to account. They are holding them accountable.
None of them have mentioned the governor. None of them.
If
you
look at the program of the protest, they will say occupy state houses of assembly, occupy state government house. It's all over the social media.
Do you know it has changed? As at this morning, the Occupy Abuja was trending. That everybody should march to Abuja, that is where the seat of power is, that's where they'll be forced to do something.
You know one thing about protests. When protest starts, at some point, it might be infiltrated. It might be that it has been infiltrated and hijacked. But the original plans of the protesters were occupy the state houses of assemblies, occupy the state government house. Then the people that are in Abuja will occupy Abuja, not occupy Abuja. Because even if the president signs everything we want him to sign, the people want him to sign, can he implement them? You still need the state governors for implementation. You still need local government chairmen for implementation. This is just awakening the consciousness of Nigerians. And people are beginning to understand. From the speech of Mr. President, he said that in the nation's history, local governments and state governments has never received the type of allocations they are receiving now because of the removal of subsidy.
But it's true.
And that is awareness. If this protest didn't come up, how would we have known?
I
would have known.
You know this.
I would have known. You would have known. You would have known. But the common man on the street might not know. But those are the gains of the protest. He has come out to say, I don't have the money again. I push the money to the state governments and local governments, hold them accountable. And Nigerians are being more politically aware, economically aware, and conscious. And after this, I believe that Nigerians will go back to the drawing board and say, well, we now know that our governor or local government chairman is receiving XYZ amount. Then what are they doing with them? After this nationwide protest now, you still see that there might be state protests, local government protests, and by so doing, the leaders won't have anywhere to hide again. Because in this era of IT and social media and consciousness of the people and awareness, I don't think anybody has anywhere to hide again.
So, in fairness, what have we gained from this protest and what are our losses?
All right. Now, we've gained so many things in the protest. Number one thing that Nigerians gained in the protest is the audience of the leaders. If they didn't march to the streets, the leaders wouldn't have listened. Neither would have the president come out to say, these are the things we've done, these are the things we wish to do. In as much as the protesters didn't feel like their concerns were addressed, but we got the attention of the president. It has made people to be more conscious, economically conscious and aware, because now people now know that XYZ amount goes to this, goes to here, and we have to hold those people within the states and the local governments accountable. It has also united Nigerians, because Nigerians, they unite in hunger and poverty. It just unites everybody, because hunger knows no tribe, poverty knows no tribe. Everyone is hungry.
Right, but again, bringing it back home,
Yes.
the Southeast did not even participate. And Dave Umahi, Minister of Works, Peter Mbah, Governor of Enugu State, both yesterday was caught in camera appreciating the fact that the people of the Southeast did not come out to protest. So did you think that that in any way united Nigerians? Because white people are out, you know, using placards and wielding placards and running down the streets of Kano, Kaduna, Gombe, in fact, in the entire north and southwest, part of southwest and south, like the southeast, and sat down. So would you say that people were in unison across the country?
Yes. Southeast is a peculiar region. And in recent times, I would say that God has really blessed us with fair leaders. Let me say that. Because if you come to Enugu, for instance, Enugu State, where we are, for instance, you see that we can visibly see the dividends of democracy. And the governor of Enugu State, His Excellency, Dr. Peter Mbah, usually comes out to tell people, see our plans. These are the things we wish to do. These are the things we've done. And in just 1 year in office, we saw so many roads he has reconstructed, the new ones he constructed, the smart schools, and some other things like that. So, and even last weekend, he signed and approved for the construction of so many roads, both urban and rural roads within the state. So these are the things that even if you want to take to the streets, you now see this road that passed through the market or passed through my house wasn't constructed earlier. Now it's being constructed. There are things that maybe when you look at in Southeast, when you go to Anambra, Abia, and other places like that, the people there say that the government is not as bad as it used to be. So this might be one of the things that made the people not to hit the streets for the protests.
In the Southeast?
Yes, it might be. And it constitutes a great factor towards that.
Mm. Well, again, you mentioned the approval of monies. Just to put that in perspective, he approved over 180 billion.
Yes.
For construction of urban roads.
Yes.
And then 20 rural roads.
Yes.
People are complaining that how come he's just concentrated only on urban areas? Well, the rural areas need this development much more than the urban areas. And to also put this in perspective, as a 2019 budget, the total budget of Enugu totally was not up to 183 billion. It was around 120, 135 billion or so. So we're using 2019 budget of entire Enugu in 2024 to construct just urban roads. I'm just putting something in perspective. That means there has been 2 times or even 3 times the amount of monies that Enugu used to receive that Enugu has now started receiving.
Yes.
That's what it means. That's what this import means.
Yes.
So to put it in clear terms, do you think the monies that we have even received so far, now that we are all in Enugu, commensurate with the development that we're seeing?
Well, I might not have the statistics right, but judging with the places I've been to in this Enugu, Enugu became dilapidated to a very great extent that when Peter Mbah came in and started revamping and walking on all those roads. We are using a road, for instance, as a case study here. People were happy, and actually it cost a whole lot to asphalt roads. So, and why focusing on the urban areas as asked by people? Most of the urban roads are so much dilapidated. And if you look at the rural roads that he said that he's going to build, they are rural roads that has been promised and has been put in the budget over time that it will be done, it will be done, it will be done. And it has not been done. Like the one of my local government, Igboeze South, the one from Iheka to Ibagwa, through Ichi to Alago, through Onado and Alago. That particular road has never been tarred, like especially the one from Ichi towards Alago. And every 4 years, it will come as campaign promise. Every 4 years, it will come as campaign promise. And this one is no longer a promise. It has been signed. So we believe that if the people of Alago, Onado, Ichi, Ibagwa, if they had wanted to hit the streets, and they now heard that the governor has signed for the construction of these roads, and it will alleviate their poverty in so many ways, they will come down and say, let's give him some time. And I believe that it is not only in road construction that the governor is doing his best. There are so many other areas. Constructing one smart school per ward by the 260 wards we have in the state is still a big something. It's not an easy deal. So those are the things, and so many other infrastructural development. There are so many abandoned properties that the government is working on. So I cannot categorically tell you now that he's not utilizing the money effectively.
You know, you said something. You said that most of the urban roads are dilapidated.
Yes.
But circling it back to the hunger and hardship protest,
Yes.
most of the foods we eat, most of the produce, the crops, the plants, come from the rural areas.
Yeah.
And mind you that the roads that bring this food to the urban areas, most of them aren't fixed. You know, believing that if we have good roads, the prices of transporting the food from the farms to the urban areas will be lesser. So shouldn't it be a part of what he should majorly concentrate on?
All right. From the news, rural roads were also signed. The construction of rural roads were signed. They were approved. So, and I know that there's a road either from Ete coming towards inside Enugu. The one I just mentioned from Ihaka to Alago. Because we have farmers that when they finish farming, they cannot bring their products to the market. But I believe in the holistic approach the governor is using by doing the rural and doing the urban. You can't just abandon one. Because when you abandon the urban and start doing the rural, at the end of the day, it's still within the same state. People will still complain. And the aim wouldn't be achieved. The objectives of constructing that road. Because if you have good roads from the rural areas, and when you get to the urban areas, the roads are bad.
No, I'm actually concerned about the fact that you said, the concentration is more, as it feels more like they have a less concentration on the rural roads. I take, for instance, a place like Eziago.
Yes.
You know, some of the roads are horrible. I've seen them firsthand. You know, some parts were actually privately constructed by individuals. So, and I know, for instance, a part Eziago, I know they do more of cassava and all those kind of things. And they are food products. And that's what they use to process abacha. For those that will take abacha or gari.
Yes.
So now, if these rural areas, the roads aren't fixed, how do we produce food to stop hunger and end hardship.
Yes. Now, like I said before, the roads are being fixed. And let's not forget that this present government, they are barely 1 year in office. They can't achieve everything within 1 year. If all other governments we've had before now have been this serious, we would have lesser issues like the ones we are having now. Like I would say that Nigeria was almost finished. Nigeria almost crumbled. But the crop of leaders we have now, they must take the blame because they are the helm of the affairs. But when you look at it critically, most of those problems they didn't create. But because they are in the seats of power, you inherit both assets and liabilities. So they are the people to be called upon for all those issues. I believe that the rural areas should be given a maximum concentration, because without the rural areas, we can't have the foods we eat. Concentration both in the roads and security and other things that will help them to produce the food to end the hunger and hardship.
Thank you. Ending hunger and hardship. On that, we're going to go for a short break. We'll be right back.